Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite white colonizer Zionist prince coming to you live from the United States of America. I'm Tall, the traveling class. Are Palestinians going at each other's necks right now? Mahmoud Abbas apparently called Hamas sons of dogs. Let's take a look at this clip.
Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, called Hamas sons of dogs in a heated speech where he also demanded Hamas release the remaining hostages, disarm, and hand over control of Gaza in order to end the war with Israel.
The direct translation in Arabic would have been Ibn Qalib.
Alone, the dynamic between the Palestinian Authority and Hamas is a facet of the war that I've always found fascinating. What kind of pull does the Palestinian Authority have in Gaza? Do Abbas's words carry weight in Gaza?
It's good to see you, Austin. I think that we have to understand why Mahmoud Abbas is all of a sudden, long after the war broke out, and he came under a lot of pressure from the Biden administration and from Israel to condemn Hamas and call them to release hostages. Why all of a sudden now? And really what we're seeing is possibly Abbas taking advantage of the fact that Hamas's governing capabilities in Gaza are weakening. While Hamas's military capabilities, according to at least the IDF intelligence, have not nearly weakened as much as Israel would like, they have lost a lot of control on the ground. One of the things that we've seen over the past months has been an increase in all of a sudden sporadic protests that are happening in the Gaza Strip of Palestinians that are calling for condemning Israel, but also condemning Hamas and calling for an end to the war. And all of a sudden, the Palestinian Authority, which, as you sort of implied, doesn't really have a pull in the Gaza Strip, is all of a sudden seeing an opportunity. The Palestinian Authority is in a very interesting position because it controls parts of the West Bank. Other parts are controlled by Israel. And, internationally, it is the recognized Palestinian body and government. A lot of voices internationally have called for some sort of agreement between Israel and the Palestinian Authority to take over the Gaza Strip. However, it is very weak in the Palestinian street. It doesn't have a lot of support. And also, it is really not respected or recognized by the Israeli government. The current Israeli government views the Palestinian Authority as a major threat unto itself. So,
So there you go. That's a little bit of what we're looking at here. Now, let me give you my thoughts and opinions. And to also break down what the correspondent there was saying, Palestinians hate the Palestinian Authority. They hate Mahmoud Abbas. They believe that Mahmoud Abbas is an Israeli puppet and that the Palestinian Authority is supported by Israel and propped up by Israel. They also are overwhelmingly supportive of Hamas, the Palestinian people. That is the direct reason why the Palestinian Authority has not held elections for the last 19 years. It is because they know that Hamas would win. And the same thing that happened in Gaza, where Hamas and Fatah had to fight a civil war and Hamas ended up winning. They would fight a civil war against the PA and they would kill anybody associated with the PA. And then Hamas would rule in the West Bank as well. So just for you guys to understand, it is not like there's much winning with the Palestinian people. But let's talk for a second why this is a positive thing. The U.S. administration, while they're okay with, Israel bombing Gaza relentlessly until days pass, we're not getting any closer to bringing back the hostages with the bombing. What does it do, though, the bombing? What does the military pressure on Hamas do? It forces their hand. First of all, it weakens their grip on the Gaza Strip because Palestinian people are getting frustrated with Hamas. And that truly is happening. They're not getting frustrated because they stopped killing Jews or because of the hostages. They're getting frustrated because it's harder for them to exist when bombs are falling there. And the reality is that Hamas, to solve that issue, needs to return the hostages. The problem is that the Palestinian people don't care enough to get the hostages released or openly support the hostages staying in Gaza, which is the main reason why a lot of this is going on. If the Palestinian people genuinely wanted the hostages to be released, they would have been released already. The problem is they don't really care for it. They're happy with the hostages staying in Gaza. Now, the reality is, what needs to be done right now, in my opinion, this needs to be used as an opportunity by Israel and the United States of America to make swift decisions that we cannot return back onto anymore. The Palestinian Authority is taking a stance now that it is gearing up to line up with America and line up with Israel. While it can't openly say it at risk of being murdered by its own people, the Palestinian Authority is gearing up right now. It is lining up to be in cahoots with America and Israel. What does that mean for us? That means that Israel and America have an opportunity right now to give or grant Palestinian Authority some element of autonomy over Gaza, if they can oust Hamas outright, and then start taking control of the Strip and taking control of the West Bank. The West Bank, we need to kill the idea of a Palestinian state or Palestinian sovereignty there. There's no right for it. There's no moral justification. There's a deal, in my opinion, that can be worked out with the Palestinian Authority where Israel remains sovereign over the West Bank, over Judea and Samaria completely, and that Palestinian Authority gets some element of autonomy to govern the Palestinian people on local issues, on tribal issues, on religious issues, but the control of the region stays under Israel, and it becomes incorporated into Israel, into the state of Israel, and we finish with that totally. Okay, we have a solution there. That's done. With Gaza, if Hamas is ousted and the Palestinian Authority is placed there by force, it'll have to be some element of a dictatorship. There's no way that you'll be able to do it democratically. We may be able to shift into a reality where Donald Trump's plan of evacuating Gazans who need to get out of the country for medical aid, for financial reasons, for whatever it be, we can actually facilitate that and then start brokering some sort of negotiation with the Palestinian Authority. Israel takes back part of the land, or controls different parts of it militarily, and the Palestinian Authority just becomes a pseudo government under Israel. I've preached this ad nauseum, but I'll say it again for anybody who's new to the channel who's watching this. There is no moral justification to creating a state of Palestine. We cannot exist with a state of Palestine on our border. It doesn't make any sense. It's not humane to anybody in the Middle East. There's no moral or ethical justification to creating a 20th plus Arab ethno state in the Middle East, or a 50-somethingth Muslim supremacist state in the Middle East. There's no justification for it. Just vibe with me on that for a moment. Just because the Palestinian people identify as a people doesn't mean it gives them the right to create another ethno-fascist state in the Middle East, which we already have 20 plus to choose from. If you want to choose an ethno-fascist state, just go to Syria or Lebanon or Egypt or Jordan. You can choose any of those and have your Islamic supremacy. There's no justification to creating another one in the Middle East. That needs to be over and done with. We can have one unified Israel where everybody can sort of live together. It'll be complicated to govern, but there's no justification to it. And now you have this opportunity with Mahmoud Abbas sort of openly going against Hamas, which he waited a very, very long time, over a year plus, to actually take that stance. We have him now in that point, and we have an opportunity to use him as a puppet to actually usher in the next part of the United States and Israel's plan. So hopefully that rhetoric keeps going, and hopefully the military pressure that Israel is applying keeps on keeping on, and hopefully keeps making the Palestinian people more and more frustrated with Hamas until they lose all popularity, or as much popularity as possible, so it can officially be overthrown. I wish there was a better solution, but it doesn't seem like there is. The Palestinian people are hard-headed motherfuckers. They are very, very, very hard-headed, and they are unwilling to give up on their terrorism and their jihadism. They're just unwilling. Because every time there's a little protest, they kill the people in the protest, and they move on. And the Palestinian people are not willing to risk it all for it. It's very odd to me that the Palestinian people are willing to risk it all for having an Israeli bomb dropped on them, but they're not willing to risk it all to get killed in a protest. Like, they know they're going to get killed by the bomb. Either get killed by helping your place or get killed by a bomb. Like, choose the lesser of the two evils, in my opinion. It's a terrible, very dark reality to talk about, having to choose to get killed by Hamas or getting killed by an Israeli bomb. But at the very least, you can choose to do something to help forward the future of Palestine or Gaza. But this is a terrible situation, and it doesn't get any easier every day that goes by. But hopefully this unrelenting military pressure will help overthrow Hamas eventually. It's going to take a lot of work on the part of the Palestinian people to hopefully get out of this rut that they're in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to support the channel, White Colonizer merch, you can get your little Judean shirt at thetravelingclad.com. See you there. Love you a long time. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclad.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.